The halfway point of the Integrity Ignite chase for the Cup has arrived. Welcome back to the round of 10. Our first 5 have been eliminated, and from here on out, it's about time things get serious in the championship chase. Welcome back to a familiar location as well. We're back in the Chicagoland area. This is Joliet, Illinois, and the host of our first race in round 2 of the playoff fight. Welcome to the Chicagoland Speedway. It's about time things get serious, and welcome back live on FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. The heavy hitters, by and large, made their way through with flying colors. It was Jared Davis and Ethan Lane who found themselves with victories to clinch their bids, and the rest of the field that remains in this championship fight did so by virtue of the points game. Now, with fewer drivers available in this championship battle, and those being the best of the best, it's going to be a lot harder to fend off just based on the points conversation, and already a winner from last round sits on the provisional pole. Ethan Lane finds himself on the top of the charts. Then you'll have Jared Davis, who just usurped him, and Jared's top time, a 30.548, is good for P1. Second on the order, now goes Lane. Jack Drucker third, Cody Smith in fourth, and it'll be Thomas Bressi fifth place on the lineup now with 1 minute and 55 seconds left to play in timing and scoring. Here's Sebastian Miller, 23rd place. Of all those who have taken times, there are 23 for the time being, so while not everyone has gone at it yet, the majority of the field has, and you got those very familiar faces up in front. JTM Motorsports sees 2 drivers in the top 10. Miller, one of the few going at it. Here's Roadhouse. Is Tom Wetmore. Wetmore's making his way across the line, and as Tom does so, this will be his first lap of the day. Wetmore is going to be competing for that championship in the Octane Series. He wasn't able to make it out of the first round here, so he's sitting 14th in points coming into the night. Thomas Bressi sits on the cut line, and he's got a lot of his championship contemporaries right around him. Hunter Madalenis is an example of a man who's under the cut line. He's only below by 2 points. First lap, 31.89, putting Hunter 28th. He's looking for a lot more out of this next run. Back straightaway running for the 0-7, Hunter Madalenis. He's got himself some work to do here. He's had a strong run. He and Jack Drucker, the top rookies in the championship race. Hunter now finding himself ahead of Drucker for the first time in several months championship-wise. It's been advantage Drucker for the most part, even as Hunter has more wins thanks to Madalenis leading, of course, the fight in making up those missed races he had. Ryan Potter sits 24th, Will Reichert in 20th, Madalenis went 7th, and DJ Stagner just went 8th. The number 64 in Stagner has been having great runs in the Highline Racing League, and he is still in the thick of the fight championship-wise. He is 7 points under the cut line, and while he's sitting 9th seeded, he's not horribly far off and still definitely could make that up. Qualifying is concluded with 32 drivers taking times. The leading man of all, Jared Davis. Davis is looking to make something happen as an underdog build under the cut line. The 19 start first tonight ahead of Ethan Lane. It's going to be the number 19 and the number 6, your front row from Chicago. Mile-and-a-half circuit. When it comes to those intermediates on the schedule, keep in mind we haven't had all too many in the playoffs so far. We only had 1 in the last round, and we intend to have 1 tri-oval mile-and-a-half track. That will be Las Vegas in the final 5. Homestead, Miami is your season finale, and it has been for the past seasons, so it's going to be the same as, but when it comes to a track like Chicagoland, there's very little of a contemporary in the remaining races to come. Nevertheless, it's the first step on the real road to the title. You can say the lame duck bids are out of the way. You can say the best of the best have made it. There's no guarantee now which of the drivers you're seeing will go the full distance. And here's here's to finding out as we go racing in Chicago tonight. First things first, let's introduce that qualifying order, and as strong as it comes, it's led by some of the best. The inside of row number 1 sees Jared Davis in position number 1, and beside him it'll be Ethan Lane. Then in second, Jack Drucker goes third, and Michael Araya sits in fourth tonight. Then from there, you'll have Cody Smith P5 and Thomas Bresci in the 6th position. Those top 6 drivers are separated by within 1/10 of a second, and they find themselves all at the top, of course, those top 3 rows. Then from there, you're going to have some very tight competition, led off by, in 7th place, Hunter Madalenis. Madalenis finds himself with DJ Stagner. Stagner is then going to be with Jacob Fife in 9th, and it will be Vinny Tigner rounding out the top 10. Tigner's had some strong runs as of late in the number 12, notably on Saturday night with SNT, where he made his way up to 2nd again at Texas. He is your 10th place man. Jared Davis and Ethan Lane are your front row. Drucker, your qualifying podium. Then from there, you'll have Matthew Thunhorst in 11th, Sam Nieto in 12th, Ronnie Osmer in 13th, and Justin Morton 14th on the lineup. He's only 2/1000ths of a second quicker than a two-way tie, Nick Tarbuck and Blake Gordon in the number 13. Kyle Brooks goes 17th. 18th is Blake Cannon. Kyle Cooper's 19th, and Will Reichard rounds out the top 20. Reichard, by less than 1,000th of a second, beats Matt Sisler in 21st. Tyler Hensley goes P22 with Wetmore in 23rd. Ryan Potter 24th, and Brant McClendon 25th. Sebastian Miller 26th, and Brandon Bernhardt 27th place. Casey Shue, Josh Gallagher, Nicholas Ward are the final drivers in the top 30, with Cal Filarski, Steve Durham in 32nd, Boomer Logan in 33rd, and your 34th and final driver, Andrew Schaub. In total, 32 drivers take times from Jared Davis down to Steve Durham. The spread of the field is 0.6 of a second, and so it goes. Davis on the pole position as we are set to roll from Chicagoland. It's about time. 120 opening laps to begin the round of 10. That's your starting grid for the first race of round 2. A minute and a half now left on your practice timing sheets. Thomas Bresci finding himself as the fastest man. His quick time coming in very recently. In this second practice, he put down a 30.686. That lap time would have been good enough to get him just about 9th in qualifying. Bresci starting in P6 tonight, so shooting a little lower than those qualifying times, as expected, in all honesty. DJ Stagner, the chat room, rooting on his teammate Sebastian Miller. Stagner leads the swamp in qualifying. It'll be DJ Stagner in the number 64. Then you'll have further on down Miller in the 83. And, of course, Ryan Potter. Miller is just 2 spots behind him. Ryan is going to be 25th. Miller just behind. He is running in 26th here. 36 seconds left on the clock. It looks like Sam Nieto going a little quicker, and that takes him up to the top time overall. Fastest mover for Sam Nieto in these practice sessions. He's made some pretty big gains in some of these 5-minute quick stints, but they don't count for all too much. He's starting in 12th place tonight. Nieto is a full-time competitor in both the Ignite and the Octane series, and he's the final driver to point his way in to this round. He is 10 points below the cut and just barely made it in over Cody Smith. The challenge is immense, but if Sam is going to step up to the plate, he's going to need that pace that we just saw that propelled him up to the top of the lineup. That is Sam Nieto, P1, and he's got himself there. Final spots taken. And it's going to be a fantastic run from here on out. Nieto looking to be the underdog of all underdogs. And here we go again. $180 miles on the docket for these 120 laps. The Chicagoland Speedway, while young compared to most other circuits, it's a familiar face and a familiar venue, all things considered. We have seen many a circuit come around, and of course, some have gone. Unfortunately, Chicagoland Speedway being one of which, but in the sim racing capacity, it is still with us. And that's the wonderful part about simulation racing. We're about to get going for the very first time in playoff stakes with Chicagoland. Now, the Octane Series schedule, as their round of 10 begins tomorrow as well, see Chicagoland as the season finale. So if you're running the Mondays and Tuesdays, this is big preparation and a big opportunity to practice. This track doesn't change even if the car does, and while it will be the next-gen stock cars taking it on next time by, Jared Davis and Ethan Lane, both competitors in 2 series, getting up front is a huge deal for them. Michael Araya taking 4th in qualifying, also a strong run. He really put on the heat going into the end of the regular season, going into the beginning of the playoffs, and now you have him here in 4th place. So, again, Araya needs to turn up the heat, the round of 15, relying heavily on those bonus points he had. And he's only 4 points above the cut as we are set to go green. Track conditions from Chicago. Ambient temperature coming in at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a track temp of 93 degrees, so mild on all fronts. The only kicker, humidity, relative humidity coming in at 80% with winds southeastbound at about 8 miles an hour. 7 or 8 for the time being. Going to be a fully daytime race, not going to see the sun set. It's the middle of the afternoon in sim, and that means it's going to stay remarkably consistent from flag to flag. Jared Davis and Ethan Lane find themselves 1st and 2nd here, and how many times have we seen this combination? Not just of Davis and Lane, but of Lane and Laraya. They've had about 25 head-to-head matchups. The last one they had, Laraya got the better of Lane. Davis, ever the silent figure, he's been showing his best as of late with multiple podium finishes. He'd like to be the man that takes the win. The all-black number 19, Jared Davis, brings them back up to speed. 2 weeks in the making, 2nd round of the playoffs. Welcome to the round of 10. We are green from Chicagoland. Jared Davis finding himself staying exactly where he started. Ethan Lane not too far behind. You'll have him there running 2nd, Jack Drucker 3rd, and so the podium and the top 10 for by and large does not change. So it begins. Another run to the mile and a half, but Chicagoland has a few quirks, and it starts at the beginning of the track, but we passed that point, so we'll talk next about the back straightaway. This back straight is not entirely straight. As a matter of fact, it's got quite the curvature to it. If you look from overhead, you might just see the back straight actually bends a little bit and leads you into turn 3 with a slight arc. It doesn't have any major banking, but it does curve its way in. So if you stay to the outside wall, you always have to be turning to the left. Then, as Davis shows you right there, you can drop all the way down to the inside on the apron. The trade-off is no banking in exchange for less distance. If you power yourself off the corner well through 4, you can really naturally glide your way in, and that's what Davis is doing. Some drivers have decided that's not the way they want to go about it, and the caution is out as we've got some trouble further back. Steve Durham among those involved. Take a look. Yellow flag at lap 4. Durham involved in the caution. And it looks like trouble begins with some loose drivers. Casey Shue, and Matt Sizzler. And Nicholas Ward for that matter. So some title implications at the back of the field and quick. Watch what happened here with Sizzler. Ronnie Osmer drifts up, hooks into Sizzler. Then Matt comes down and hits Nicholas Ward, Cal Filarski, and Casey Shue. Ward in the grass. He gets pushed out of the way. Casey Shue goes down the inside. And as he goes by the apron, there you have it, 25th place. Some front end damage as well. So a multi-car pileup. There's Ronnie Osmer quick to pit road. Calvin Filarski is going to have himself down there too. Matt Sizzler down and in. as the field pulls itself back together. Very fast opening caution. It's Jared Davis leading, Ethan Lane in second, Jack Drucker in third. Five laps in out of 120. Drucker maintains on the podium. The only drivers who have gained to this point, you'll see 5th to 4th in Cody Smith, 6th to 5th in Thomas Bressi, 7th up to 6th in Hunter Madalenis. They have all gotten the better of one man in Michael Araya, and they have made quick work of him one by one. So rapidly, Michael Araya falls back. Nobody else doing the same. 6 laps in out of 120. This pit stop coming early enough where it really should not impact what is due to happen. That being the strategic run. We go green at lap 8. That leaves us with about 112 laps remaining. So for the most part, the original top 20 has that same composition. And moreover, the Blakes now together. You got Blake Cannon leading Blake Gordon, the 27 ahead of the number 13 right now. Cannon's been having some good runs, and of course Roadhouse Racing as a whole having some of its best performances, not just in the Ignite Series, but also the Tuesday night Octane Series. Richmond Raceway, it was a 1-2 finish going up against Ethan Lane and doubling up on the podium. Blake Cannon and Tom Wetmore working to defend, and it ended up being Wetmore's critical victory that kept him alive in the round of 10 on Tuesday nights, and Blake Cannon just scoring the extra points he needed to climb over that hurdle at the same time. So again, maybe bringing some of those lessons into the rest of the playoff picture here. Every race matters, not just the ones run in this series. Davis and Ethan Lane maintain as your front row, and they're set to go at it again. Jack Drucker, Cody Smith, and Thomas Bressi, your top 5, with Hunter Madalenis in 6th, Michael Araya then in 7th, and you'll have DJ Stagner maintaining P8. Bottom half of the top 10, staying exactly as it is. Cannon is one of the biggest movers already, gaining 6 places to go from 18th up to 12th. From outside the top 25, well, 25th, up 8 is Brant McClendon. He's gotten himself up to 17th place, and so overall, he is the biggest mover of any individual driver. Let's see if he can go for any further here and try to crack the top 15 in his first opportunity. 7 laps in out of 120, we go green at lap number 8. Jared Davis at the helm, and it's going to be the pace car. Ducking down low, taking that very hard left turn, missing the pit road entry, but getting down there all the same. Davis won't miss his launch. It's going to be a clear car length plus of an advantage. Green flag's out. It's all Jared through 1 and 2. Careening into turns 3 and 4. Hunter Madalenis looking for another quick pass. Michael Araya, 8th place, trying to defend upon both Tigner and Jacob Fife. Vinny having some strong runs at these intermediates, and of course the Texas Motor Speedway, not just last Saturday night, but also in the Ignite Series, where he came away with a 2nd place finish, proving that that winning streak and capability is there for Vinny if the time is right and the circumstances are as well. Now with a little bit of a push from Blake Cannon, Tigner gets out there running side by side with the number 44. Vinny tonight running a new paint scheme, and of course we saw it on Saturday night, but now it's new for this series, the 10-runner Ford Mustang. A new look as he goes up alongside a familiar foe in DJ Stagner. Not that they have anything against each other, but these drivers have raced in now many a race together for over several seasons, and Tigner is a 2-year veteran, and we don't have many rookies up in the upper mix. Jared Davis would be one of them, Hunter Madalenis would be the second, and then you would have the third, and that would be Jack Drucker. Speaking of, Drucker is your leader, Jack getting ahead of Davis and Lane alike, and while it looks like Jared is actively going at it, Ethan Lane has decided to take a little bit more of a passive approach, and he lies back for the time being, and I'm wondering why that's the case. Is it just going to be a matter of waiting it out for the long-term strategy to kick in? Or is Ethan Lane right now not have the stuff to go out there and chase? Or is it a little bit of a mix of both? That's the big question here, and I think right now we're not going to get a clear answer. Ethan's going to let us know when he feels like letting us know, so I would give him some 20-25 laps. Side by side across the stripe, Blake Cannon and Michael Araya. The 27 of Cannon up top, and as Blake goes at it, Michael Araya stays on the bottom. Looks like Michael again going to be passed here. That's going to be to reclaim the 7th spot for Cannon. Now to get 6 back from Stagner and maybe even 5th from Madalenis. Blake Cannon is glued to the racetrack. It's almost like a slot car machine the way the 27's going around there. And so quickly, making up 3 places. Blake Cannon inside the top 5. Through the first dozen, the 27 finds himself another spot. 18th up to 5th, mind you. That's a gain of 13 places for Blake Cannon. No other driver has gained more than 10, and yet now Blake Cannon stands alone as the only driver who's got a shot to go for 15 places added. I mean, you got Cody Smith here. Cody's going to be 4th place for the time being. Can Blake make quick work again? He's using the second groove in a way that is only replicated by the man now ahead of him. Here comes Ethan Lane for the race lead, and the second groove has come alive with the 6 and the 27. Ethan Lane back on top of Drucker. Well, Ethan decided to give us that answer pretty quickly. Does he have the stuff? Yes. Was he waiting? Also yes. Now it's time to go at it in full pursuit. Ethan Lane to the start-finish line once again. Jack Drucker 0.2 of a second behind. Blake Cannon 1.5 back. Blake might be able to quickly get up here for P2, and it's interesting because Blake had to go through the entirety of that mid-pack to get up here, and it doesn't look like, at least to an extreme sense, that he has given in tire-wise. He finds himself about as fast as drivers around him and is still making places up. So however he decided to go through that pack, and it looked like quickly by using the higher side, it saved his equipment. And that's something we do see. There's less resistance when you're pulling the car less forcefully downstairs, which means that the way he's taking it around the middle groove of the circuit and just pulling it in gently, it's going to help him out. He doesn't have to concern himself, or Cannon doesn't have to concern himself anyway, with dropping it down to the bottom and dragging it there. Ethan Lane a little bit more so, and that might cost him the lead, and we'll have our second lead swap in 3 laps. Cannon to the points. Blake Cannon, 17 laps in out of 120 at the top of the board, and he is on top now over Davis, Lane, and Jack Drucker. All 4 former leaders, and of course your 1 current, are up in the mix, and they all occupy the top 5 places. Lane side by side with Davis, this time Davis the aggressor, and Jack Drucker just behind him. Drucker looks low. No dice there. He'll stay behind. Cody Smith wraps up the top 5, but things are changing as Brant McClendon is now up 13 places and finds himself in the 12th position. McClendon is the only driver to make up more than 10 spots so far, and doing so in very impressive fashion. Let's see now what he can do on Jacob Fife. Fife is pulling to the inside, and he's got himself way low there. Opposite is going to be McClendon to the ceiling of the circuit. Michael Araya in the 44 ahead of Blake. And of course, that's Blake Gordon, 3 wide. Tigner, Cody Smith, DJ Stagner. Still 3 as they go into 1 and 2. So while the majority of the field is single file, when it's dicey, it is dicey, and Chicagoland offers you multiple grooves. The track surface is a little bit more worn out. It's got about 15 years of wear on it relative to when iRacing put it on the surface, which means that things are well defined. You can see the grooves and the ripples in the track, and that's what takes the tire by storm. We are seeing some big tire wear. We're now about 2 seconds slower than we were lap after lap compared to qualifying, with times coming in at about 32 seconds apiece compared to the mid 30-second bracket. So it's slower, but it also means that drivers can make the best out of anywhere on the track. That's how it was Ethan Lane and then Jared Davis trying to get the lead. It's now Blake Cannon. Cannon's put 3/10 up on them all. Another driver up and ahead. 18th up to first, Blake Cannon. He used that second groove and put it up to a T, and he is in perfect standing to lead to lap number 21. Ethan Lane, third, Jack Drucker, fourth, Cody Smith in fifth, and Vinny Tigner, P6. Up 4 places, Vinny is so far. Now I would think the goal for Tigner is to finally get around and win one here. Time is running out. Opportunities are running thin on the season to take that victory. His rookie season was strong. He was top 15 in points, and while he's taken a little bit of a step back so far in the overall performance department, he did have his best race career-wise this season. And that's a high note to look back on and reflect quickly, and I think there's reason to believe that Vinny Tigner can bring that very same energy back to the racetrack once again. I mean, Vinny finds himself right now in that top 5 mix-up. He's not too far behind Drucker, and he was just side by side with it. 3 wide now, it could be with Stagner. DJ backs off, no dice there. Madalenis blocked by Drucker. What is Jack going to do? He'll take it down low. Still looks like Drucker is going to be ahead, not by much, of Madalenis, but definitely ahead of Vinny Tigner into the opening turns. Out of 2, Madalenis still has the edge. Vinny Tigner now side by side with Jack Drucker, though, and the blocking from the 07 does not help the case for Drucker. That 56 is going to go, not topsy-turvy per se, but he is going to have to be mindful of what's going on around him here. He's not at all far from being put further down the line. You got DJ Stagner and Blake Gordon, both of which coming through, and when they do, it's not going to be easy, because Stagner, very hard to get past when he passes you. I mean, not only is he hard to get past when you're behind him to begin with, but from the defense to offense, DJ Stagner switches off well, and it's lights out from there. Blake Gordon, likewise, when he's comfortable with his tire, and he generally is in the early runs, if he can stay on that up-and-up route, he is a tremendous performer. However, Brent McClendon going by him might be a sign he can't do just that. Round of applause early to Brent McClendon, though. He is now up a total of 16 places, going for his 17th. Look at the way he is moving. McClendon up the alley and still making a difference. This is what it's all about. A very strong start. McClendon having an unparalleled, maybe career night. And with the momentum he's bringing right now, I think it is indicative to say that he's got the stuff. Brent McClendon by Michael Araya. If he's not the real deal, who is now? Going to be interesting to see if this is a comer and goer situation. McClendon, of course, qualifying so poorly compared to most others out there. But again, it's not about that immediate pace. It's about the long-term race pace, and side by side with Stagner. First, we saw it with Cannon, and Blake now leads the field by some second. It's a 1-second gap right now, give or take. And now you've got Brent McClendon doing the same. And you see what he's doing right here that's very similar? He's going up to the second groove. And I think that is the kicker here. The inside groove is good to defend, and if you really are strong with your equipment and confident, then you can use it. But what we're seeing right here is that if you can do a better job with the second groove, it will pay off and the dividends will be so clear. I mean, McClendon is soaring up high. The inside does not look to be preferential. This sometimes happens. These oval tracks with the banking that they have, it's pointed inside, so it's like a bowl. If you're able to pull more speed by using more distance that's curved, you can ring off the corner just a little bit better. DJ Stagner, a big drop. He'll save it, but now he's 3 wide with Bresci and Blake Gordon. Huge difference maker for Stagner. Not in a good way there. I mean, bobbling off a turn 2 like that, drastic, but he saved it. You got red, green, and blue in the form of Stagner, Bresci, and Gordon. Blake Gordon with a slight edge, and he might be able to complete the 2-for-1 here. This is for 10th place, the final spot in the top 10, and each driver barely eking it out at their respective moments. Bresci had the edge that time by, and it looks like it's his. DJ Stagner, he's going to be the driver who perhaps loses the most in this ordeal. and he finds himself dropping a little bit further back. Blake Cannon is still your leader, but Cody Smith just got by for second place. Cody, up to P2, is still looking for his first win of the season. He's had some pole positions and good runs. Phoenix Raceway comes as an example. He got the pole and led the second most laps. The winning driver was Ethan Lane, who led about 4 more times the laps than Smith did. That was the closest opportunity. Since that point, while Smith has been competitive, victories have not always been on the table. And I think right now, when you're running second place, that one position, it's a lot. It's significantly more challenging to get it, but it's not nearly as much as where Smith started. Smith started in 5th. That's not far from your leader, but again, it's a lot of competitive drivers around you that want to take that spot. When you're running second, you've only got one driver to take it from, and generally, you're strong enough to defend those behind. Jared Davis has not been able to hold a candle yet in the race pace to Blake Cannon. Ethan Lane, second down to 4th, has shown flashes. But we've had multiple race leaders. We've had Cannon, Davis, Lane, and briefly Jack Drucker. And now they're all scattered throughout the top 10, with the last of which being Drucker. He finds himself in the 9th place here, and it looks like he has dropped off the most of any of our former leaders to this point. Brent McClendon in 6th place is a story to watch as he looks for what could be his 20th place gained. It would come in the form of Vinny Tigner. We'll see whether or not he can get there. Of course, he's gone this far. I don't think he intends to stop. That time by 32.654 compared to a 32.627. So Vinny was slightly faster. We'll see now if Brent McClendon has hit his apex. No fuel restrictions tonight. 120 laps, so every driver can go about 100 miles on their fuel cell. Splitting this race halfway at the lap 60 marker would be a 90-mile stint. So, comfortably today, drivers can go for the half-and-half strategy and not have to worry about any additional awkward pit road pit stops. So, it's going to be realistically a one-and-done if they stay calm and collected. Lap number 60 is the place to be down a pit road. Yes, the time, midway. That's what every driver is going to look for. And when you're a quarter of the way through the overall race, halfway through that first run, and I would say this is the most important half in settling yourself in. The first quarter of a race, however way you slice it, however when you go down a pit road, doesn't matter. This first initial period is the most important part in settling you in and finding that rhythm of guys you're going to be around strategy-wise, finding your pace in the immediate run, the midterm, and the long run, and then the last quarter of a race, the final stretch as we always put it, that's, of course, where you go out there to win. But before you go out there and win, you got to settle yourself, and you do that all the while by getting it started well. So that foundation is huge, and right now, Blake Cannon has the foundation that dreams are made of. Championship standing-wise, Blake, of course, is still eligible. He's in the mix and is 6 points above the cut line, so he comes in as your 3rd seed. Ethan Lane is seed number 1. He is the only driver right now that is double-digit points above the cut. The number 6 team finding itself right now 19 points ahead. So while Lane is not a lock, he's got the most comfortable ride into the round of 5 of any other driver. So long as he stays with it and just doesn't have a dismal performance, he is effectively going to make his way in walking backwards. There is no concern now. It's Lane against everyone as it's been all season long. The only pressure that Lane has is really on himself to keep on delivering and stay as the outright best driver in this league. Although Ethan has been capitalizing more on qualifying success, the race wins haven't always come with the pole positions, and maybe that's to the dismay of Ethan Lane to this point, and that might be the only thing that's really bugged him so far. He has 8 pole positions and 6 race wins. His 6 wins are double the next closest driver on the calendar, and of course, that just goes to show the huge difference between he and the rest of the field. Well, Blake Cannon has 5 wins, but then you look back and there's only one 3-time winner who's going at it full time, and you have a few 2-time winners. 6 wins stands head and shoulders above the field right now. Cannon might be able to reel him in and go for that 6th checkered flag tonight. Across the entire league, though, Ethan Lane has more than a dozen victories, and that's the unbelievable metric. 6 wins in a series that has 35 drivers week in, week out is remarkable in its own right. Ethan now coming up on Cody Smith, but is he coming up on Smith or is Smith getting away? It looks more like the latter as Smith is able to keep himself with the 2nd place there. Can Ethan Lane surge down and get it? It looks like he's close. No dice though. Tom Wetmore going to be now another lap down. You see that number 69 team, 1 down for the time being. He's another lapper in the system. While his teammate passes him, Wetmore is far out of winning contention, and looks like he's going to skate back. And stating his purpose, well, hopefully he's not going off on the radio chat. Everyone sees him. He shouldn't be a big issue. Roadhouse Racing, tale of 2 drivers tonight. 0.6 of a second gap to the 6 car. Ethan Lane is still far out of the frame. Blake Cannon is in his own world. Go down the line, the closest battles are outside the top 10. Matthew Thunhorse and Nick Tarbuck, some of which. Side by side, Thunhorst, who's still racing for the championship, and Nick Tarbuck. The fact that Tarbuck is in is a very unfortunate case. I mean, that's the playoff system. You got to stay consistent, and after an amazing regular season, Tarbuck again bounced out, so he won't be able to avenge his round of 5 finish last season, and it looks like that will be that for one of our most successful drivers ever. He just couldn't pull off the win on Monday nights, and that was the Achilles heel that sealed the deal in a negative way. So while his championship run is over, he'll keep on fighting. .42 laps in out of 120. Inside Thunhorst, outside Tarbuck. It's side by side. 43 laps in out of 120 here. Oh, a little bit of contact. The 29 up the track, and luckily not a big right rear tap, but that was the nudge that might start the problem. Down the back straightaway, DJ Stagner, 15th from 8th place. So he's actually down 7 spots, and it looks like not going in the right direction. There's Will Reichert. Reichert is a lapper, mind you, and it looks like he is still quicker than a 64. Blake Cannon still 0.6 ahead of Ethan Lane. Michael Araya with Vinny Tigner and Jack Drucker here. Michael's goal, regain the spots he's lost. Going down to as low as the 8th place, Hunter Madalenas and Jack Drucker alike, they would like to make themselves figured out real well, and it looks like Drucker's going to drop back several car lengths. Vinny Tigner and Brant McClendon, 20 places up for McClendon, 4 for Vinny Tigner. Yeah, between those two, I mean, that is a remarkable gain. It's 24 spots. McClendon does the heavy lifting, mind you, but both of them have gone on the up and up, and that's the big thing. Hunter Madalenas getting ahead of Jack Drucker again, but neither have gotten close to Laraya. Looks like Michael might be hitting his stride. A late stride, yes, but watch what happens here for the 44. Nicholas Ward side by side. Ward is one of those lappers here. He is 30 laps down. He disconnected after that first incident, and now he finds himself getting closer, just a little bit closer to the leading pack to get one of those laps down. Take a ride on board with your lapper in the 97. Ward here, he's fighting with the leaders, but he's got a whole different experience going. Swerving down to the inside on Jared Davis. And I'll tell you what, if that was a lead lapper doing that, it would have sent alarm bells through the 19 system. But that's what happens when you got younger rubber, and this is the perfect advertisement for those Goodyear Eagles. Someone just listened. A few just listened. Cody Smith is in after 47 laps. That is an interesting call. I mean, you got Smith coming in at lap 47, and he's coming in from top 10. Dropping in, as does Blake Cannon. And this is very early, mind you. It's fuel that's safe. I don't know if they're doing this by virtue of tire calls, but 48 laps in, and it looks like the two-stopper is in play. By the numbers, they can go for one stop. Jared Davis deciding to stay out. An interesting decision from Cannon, your leader, to opt in so quick. So Jared Davis having himself at the front of the field. Brett McClendon now 25th up to second, mind you. Massive gains, and he has only gone up further. Now this time by, no signals of anyone else going down to the inside on pit road. Take a look at the left side of your screen. We'll give you the details here. So Nick Tarbuck goes in. Ethan Lane comes through as well. The multi-stop strategy becoming more popular as 50 laps in. Lane is now going to get red hot running. So 60 laps. That's 90 miles. That splits the 180-mile race in two. By the numbers, it is possible, and it shouldn't be too close of a margin, actually. If drivers saved during that first caution as well, the first run would have been some 85 miles, but more and more. Jacob Fife just went down and in, 50 laps in out of 120, coming to 51. Now look at that. Now we're really getting somewhere. And this is perhaps an unexpected switch up by the math, but we might see a benefit from those who take the multiple stop approach, and they might be able to get quicker laps at the end of this race and reap the rewards and reap the benefits. I think that's going to be the end goal for those drivers who are looking at the promise of going in. Is the right thing to do. Now, Kyle Cooper went in at lap 1, so he went in way back. He's going to try to stay out. Here comes Blake Gordon, and interestingly, Tyler Hensley and Gael Brooks went in at lap number 6. So they're on a fresher set of rubber, slightly. And by the numbers, as confirmed by everyone else, yes, they can make it to lap 60. I don't know, again, what's going to prompt these drivers more. If it's not going to be fuel, it looks like the big issue is tires. We are seeing 33-second laps now. Jared Davis last time by ran a 33.054. At the line now, it's a 33.17. I mean, compared to qualifying times, Davis qualified with a 30.548. We're looking at nearly a 3-second fall off. That is massive, and it looks like that is enough for there to be a reason to go to the inside of pit road. So, Davis holding out here. It looks like he can stretch it as long as he would like, but more and more drivers have decided that's not the way to go about it. You've got 17 holdouts here. Ethan Lane is the leader of all those on new rubber. He went in, and he went in about 5 laps ago. He would have to go for his second stop at latest around lap 100. '18th place for Lane here. Going into pit road and leading on the way out. He's going to be going head-to-head with drivers who he is nowhere near around. He went in at lap 47, mind you. His biggest competition is not right now, anyway, a Blake Cannon or a Will Reichard behind him. It's more so the drivers he doesn't see, and I think Lane would know that. He is one of the brightest minds when it comes to that race IQ consistently in this series. It is no need to say it. No need to explain it any further than it is. He is capable of understanding that. But it's hard to perceive that when you're thinking about guys who are halfway across the track. Drivers who haven't even gone down to pit road, mind you, those are the enemies. Guys like McClendon, guys like Tigner, or Hunter Madalenas. Those drivers who are holding it down, they are going long, and they will change up the way the race is around you. The 11 and 12 coming in Union. It'll be McClendon, then Vinny Tigner, for 4 tires and fuel at lap 56. Davis is close. Unbelievably close now. Is he going to stick it out? Still no signal that he's going to head down to pit road just yet, and neither has it been from Hunter Madalenis. Michael Araya nor Thomas Bressi, they've all stayed out. There's Jacob Fife. Fife finding himself digging to the inside, and he's going to take a spot. "57 laps in, out of 120. Leader Lane in the championship holds a 19-point bump over everyone. Thomas Bressi is on the bubble. Bressi needs a good race tonight, but he also doesn't have to worry himself all too much. That being said, worry is one thing. I mean, Thomas Bressi, never the driver to really panic himself, but always got to keep himself on his toes, given the fact he's got teammates who have outperformed him this season. Now tonight, Matthew Thunhorst is 1 lap down in 24th. He hasn't had the best of races, but he's got a buffer in 8 points, so he can afford one bad race here. Your regular season champion eyeing his first ever title. He's got a little bit more to work with. Thomas Bressi, just a slightly weaker regular season and was closer in the playoffs, but he has been about 2 to 3 spots off every night on Thunhorst, and that adds up over time. Madalenis is in, Laraya is in. That's 2 drivers coming in at lap number 58. So, interesting to see that there. Another bundle just before the halfway point. As well, Kyle Cooper, number 73, dropping in. He's going to lock in just 2 laps before halfway. Jared Davis at lap number 59 stays out there, and he will make the magic number his own. Coming to lap number 60 and proving the halfway theory is very viable. Davis leads us into your second half. So Jared here is one of the very few who is holding it down up in front. You've got your top 10 who have done so down to Brandon Bernhardt, and then you've got the rest of the field. That's as simple as it is. Jared Davis is effectively against the world. As he heads down to pit road after 60 laps, he stretches it to 90 miles on the dot and rolls in 4 tires and fuel in hand. Davis has a big advantage here. 2 big advantages. 1, he'll have younger rubber than everyone else on the way out, and 2, if he sticks to this, he won't have to go down to pit road again. A massive drive from Jared Davis. But I will say something. He is alone. He is fully without anyone to base himself off of. Hensley was far too far behind. So was the rest of the holdout group. Ethan Lane has contemporaries. That might not sound like a good thing to begin with, but I believe that might be the big differentiator here. There are multiple drivers running this same strategy that Ethan Lane is on. As a matter of fact, the majority of the field is running it. You've got about 20 drivers who are running the way that Lane is, and then you've got about 10 who have decided to go the way of Sam Nieto. What that means is that the traffic and the flow of this race is not going to be dictated by Jared Davis. Even if he finds himself up and in front, even if he gets there again, he will not be the dictator up in front. Now, you can lead the race and you can't have full control, obviously, but what we mean by him not being the dictator of pace is that he won't have himself the opportunity to really control when drivers go down for strategy calls. He is an outlier. He is an exception. He is not the norm. And with drivers understanding that, they're not really going to abide by what he sees or does. Leaders often get a different type of respect on the racetrack, but we're looking at really 2 leaders of 2 different races. It's almost like 2 independent lanes on a highway that merge at the end, and it's an inverted fork in the road. One of them has to come out ahead of the other. We don't know which that will be yet. We only know that on one prong, you've got Lane. On the other, you have Cannon. And when the checkered flag falls, one's got to give. 57 laps to go. We're approaching that point sooner and sooner. So, in the meanwhile, the top 5 is made up of some of the underdogs who have not gotten their time to shine just yet. Josh Gallagher is in 4th place and coming to the pit road after 64 laps. Justin Morton stays out in 3rd. Kyle Brooks holds on in 2nd. Tyler Hensley is in 1st. Hensley has had some of his career best races this season, And it's, again, that's been perhaps the big shock of the year out of the JTM program. No surprise that Morton, Bressie, and Thunhorse, the JTM trio, have been able to find themselves back to victory lane, and all three of them have done it at least once. I think the bigger surprise is what we've seen more so out of Tyler Hensley in his best performances. As of now, Hensley still, of course, making himself a more relevant driver. He's got 3 top 10s to this point all in the season. He has been closer and closer to getting up there for podium placements, and that's the interesting thing. 3 top 5s, mind you, and 8 top 10s. So he's got some high-scoring runs. Drivers who are ahead of him in the championship standings don't even match him in that regard. He's got as many top 10s as Blake Cannon, who is 3rd in points, and he runs 21st in the championship standings. The potential and the ceiling for Hensley is very much there, and with him running that long and being the final holdout with Gael Brooks after 67 laps, hey, he's got the alternate call working out. But meanwhile, leading the mainstream, it is Ethan Lane in number 6 getting ready to rumble again. .54 laps remaining. Lane occupying the top spot even still. He's 1.2 seconds up on Blake Cannon here. So, Cannon that time by ran a 32.535. Ethan Lane a 32.529. And you might be asking, looking at the numbers, how is Blake Cannon so much slower? Of course, right now, and we're talking about last pit lap, he's so much slower on only a 1 lap difference. On a consistent basis, he's lost a few tenths already. I think he's saving his stuff. That's what I think we're looking at here already. Drivers who are preparing for the long term and saving it. So Cannon, even though he's cumulatively losing more time and was within a second prior and has now lost that distance, I think right now you're looking at that preparation to come back up the ladder. Jared Davis, last time by, mind you, ran a 31.951 compared to a 32.602. He's already seen the tires shred, but at the same time, he is doing 2 things. I think he's saving his stuff pace-wise. Not going to be as fast as where he could be if he was really going at that raw pace, but he's also minding his business here, knowing that the strategy around him really isn't going to concern him. And that's the pro of being the individual around everyone else who is in that big group. You don't have to go with what is almost a herd mentality, in all honesty, where every other driver just complies with what's going on. That's not going on for Davis. Instead, he's doing the opposite. He's doing it his own way, and he just has to watch that number on fuel. When the gas mileage comes in, he's got a report inside the cockpit, and he sees where he's at, then he adjusts. And I would be hard-pressed to say he's even on the throttle the whole time. Hey, take a look on board. We're with the number 19 of Jared Davis right now. Take a listen. Through turn 3. Did you hear that? If you didn't, that's the right answer. Take a listen again through turn 1. So Jared Davis is intentionally cutting the engine and clutching and coasting. So he's already on that full fuel save mentality. That's how he's going to get to the end of this race on this stint. Yeah, it's a fundamental move. You got to make it to succeed, and Jared Davis understands that well. Ethan Lane, second up to first in the number 6 car. Well, he's still ahead of Blake Cannon. He doesn't really have any rivals right now. He's just waiting to see what happens and if maybe those alternative strategy guys can catch back up to him. Honestly, it's going to be Jared Davis, if anyone. I mean, Tyler Hensley's 1 lap down, far too far behind. There's going to be nothing that comes of that. Then from there, you're going to see maybe a few other drivers like Gael Brooks. Brooks is also far off. Well, he's on the lead lap. He's 15 seconds behind Jared Davis. It's really no comparison. The guys who went in during the mid-60s, with the exception of Davis, are not going to be competing for that win. Thomas Bressie might have a better chance. He's a guy who went in at lap number 60. But 60 compared to Davis, who went in later, it's not sustainable. It's not with the leaders. And so Bressie's in that awkward middle piece where what he did makes sense, but I don't think it's going to be the right way to play things. Jared Davis going in at lap number 61 here. That 1 extra lap might just pay some dividends. Bressie opting to do things a little bit different, but he went in late as well. So far, Thomas has been pretty quiet on the day. Qualified in 6th. He is down 6 places as we speak. What can he do for his team? What can he do for himself? Matthew Thunhorst, his teammate, runs up there in 10th, but he doesn't need an amazing race, Thunhorst. Thomas Bresci, I would say, needs it a lot more. But again, they're both teammates here, so this is where it becomes that balancing act. How do both drivers get a top 5 berth? They've done it before. What can they do to do it all the same again? Thunhorst having the 8-point edge, Ethan Lane having 19 points. Lane could just very well win again. He would be the leader, and by a firm margin, he would stay the leader. The strategy that you're looking at right here, that would not change unless he makes a significant flaw in his racing strategy for the rest of the night. Blake Cannon coming down and in. So this is when drivers come in who are on that 2-stop strategy. Blake Cannon coming through at lap number 76. Lane right now looks to be strong enough in his position that he's just going to lead the strategy from here on. The only differentiator would be the drivers who are way behind him, particularly Jared Davis. Lane could very well, again, advance with wins through both rounds. A victory in the round of 5 might just be the moment of truth. And it might just be the championship clinching moment. No longer is this championship fight decided or defined by one race. You can have a bad race, you can have a disconnection or a major equipment failure, and it will not fully penalize you. You will have 2 other races to make it up. All races and all stages are multi-race now in the Ignite Series playoffs, which means that the moments that you see on the racetrack, while all meaningful, will not kill a driver if they're fully bad, and they will not be all set in stone if they're good. So there's added weight in knowing you've got to be consistent every step of the way. Vinny Tigner side by side now with Jacob Fife. Fife staying up on the ceiling of the circuit here. Brant McClendon still with him. McClendon is the real deal tonight. Amazing work from him. Take a ride on board Brant, and you can see him up on the ceiling of the circuit. Brant being one of those first guys to really figure out what's going on the higher groove. It was him, it was then, of course, Blake Cannon, and we saw a little bit out of Ethan Lane as well. Those were the drivers who really made a difference by going up to the high side of the track, and it shows now what you're seeing here from the number 11 of McClendon. Brand, of course, drops down low. Got Jacob Fife falling to the high side, and he falls back in position anyway. 7th for McClendon. Top 5 finish would be amazing. It would be definitively his best ever run in this league. The Louisiana State University team, of course, they've had some strong starts, but to finish it off the way that Brant has would be a career day and a warm welcome to the upper echelon of this field. Second place might become more of a fight here. Cody Smith is 2/10 back now. Hunter Madalenis with him. Justin Morton going to be on looking, but he is nowhere near the fight. 25th up to 7th. Brant McClendon up 18 places. Blake Gordon higher up on 6 spots all the day, 16th to 10th. And so it looks like Gordon's early successes have been far from just the short term. Great to see as well. Another driver of the Endeavor Racing camp who's gotten some time in the sun was Brandon Bernhardt, but Bernhardt finds himself now 1 lap down in 21st. Brandon might be able to get himself back on the lead lap. Josh Gallagher doing so right now. And so we're going to see 20 drivers on the lead lap so long as Gallagher can get by. 19th is the last man right now in Casey Shue. Casey just put himself back on the lead lap, and it looks like Ethan Lane is going to let him have it. Josh Gallagher across the line goes back to lead lap status, 20th place. Ooh, maybe not so much. Lane is not going to give in, and it's still going to be about side by side for that fight. So quickly, Ethan Lane takes it, he gives, and he takes back. Such is the nature of being the leader in this field. Ethan is not going to stop himself for any of those lappers, but I don't think he's going to be particularly horrible to them either. Still single file through the top 10. Jared Davis is in 12th. He's been with Thomas Bressi. These two are just running comfortable laps here. That's going to help out with lengthening, or shall we say extending, the runs that we're going to see out of both the 12, or rather the 19 and the 24. The 12 and Tigner is on that traditional strategy, but to match the pace of those upper guys, both Davis and Thomas Bressi have the incentive in taking it easy. Not only because that will get them through more laps, but also because the best opportunity for them to save their tires comes in going a little bit less through and through. Now, I'm not saying that you don't want to be a 100% driver. You absolutely want to give yourself a lot more power. However, it also comes with restricting that power at the right time. You can go 100%, but if you burn out your fuel load, then you come down to pit road again. That is some 40 seconds lost. For Davis and Bressi, they've committed to the fact that they do not want to lose those precious seconds. Bressi still leading Jared Davis here. He's going to have to go one extra lap on this strategy call. That might be the riskiest moment because he has a longer second half. Jared Davis had a longer first half. The longer you go to begin with, the less you got to do on the back end. One down to pit road that time by. And it looks like very quickly, Hunter Madalenis keeping the race lead now over Cody Smith. 7/10 back. Ethan Lane to pit road. Lane and McClendon both in together, 4 tires and fuel. So Ethan is going to drop behind Jared Davis. Watch what happens now. This is going to move Jared up into 8th, Thomas Bressi into 7th, and they're going to probably move even higher. Ethan Lane is now outside of the top 10 conversation. We'll see what he can do now to recover. Hunter Madalenis just put him 1 lap down, in fact. 34 laps to go. Drivers can go up until about lap 100 if they're on that 2-stop strategy, but you do not want to do that. The reason being, 20 laps is not enough to get back on the track, warm up your tires, and push. So I think we are going to see the floodgates open up and very fast to come together down to pit road. Wouldn't expect it to be immediate for Madalenis, but when the next 10-15 laps, there is no reason not to go in. Ethan Lane getting his lap back as well. Here comes the number 6. And a quick return to the lead lap. Let's see how fast this lap clocks in for Ethan Lane. His fastest lap on the day, looking at all the times he's put down. Coming at lap number 49, a 31.231 in racing conditions. That came in about within a tenth of a second as fast. 31.312 for Lane, and so that clocks in as one of his 5 fastest on the day. A 31.312 for Ethan Lane. Fastest lap for your current leader, Hunter Madalenis. We can take a look at that right now. While he just clocked a 32.8 second lap, and his fastest came at lap number 60 as a 31.31 second effort. So Lane just put down about as fast a lap as Hunter's fastest. He got back on the track. Jared Davis has been running slower laps than most others all throughout this race here. His fastest lap coming as lap number 2, so the first one at speed, a 31.076, and he got closer than both Madalenis and Ethan Lane to going under the 31-second barrier. However, since that point, he has been consistently slower, running the last several laps. From lap 66 on to now, the last 32 consecutive laps, or rather, the last 23 consecutive laps in the 32-second bracket. Consistency is key. And that is going to be another 34. Hunter Madalenis finding himself still leading. 30 laps to go. Take a ride on board now with the 07. Hunter Madalena 7 seconds up on the next driver in Jared Davis here. Then you have Sebastian Miller getting up to third by virtue of Jack Drucker arriving at pit road. Thomas Bresci also there as well. You got Vinny Tigner, and all of which come together. Here we go. Drucker, Tigner, Bresci. And that's going to be 3 cars all at once making their way out. Blake Cat in 8th place. According to timing and scoring here, getting closer and closer to the up and up. Jared Davis is now going to be scored in P2, and Bresci abandoned the long-term strategy. So, that's going to leave Davis alone, and Madalena's the last holdout. "27 laps left on the clock here for every one of these drivers. The time is running out to make change. Davis here, he is on his own. Gael Brooks is running now in third, but he is 10 seconds behind. Interesting call for Brooks, but it might be able to get him back up into that winning conversation. And that is something we haven't seen from him since 2023 in Monza, where he was able to come away with a great podium run. You know how he did it? He was not the one to go down to pit road. He and Justin Morton out of the JTM camp decided to stay out the entire race. A 0 pit stop race. Ended up going first and third. "26 laps to go. Hunter Madalena's here, careening down to the inside of pit road. And so he's got himself in. He's the last of the leading holdouts, and so this stint is going to come to its quick conclusion. Hunter Madalena, he last went into pit road, of course, before that, during the late 50s. And so that's about a 40-lap run coming to its end. The last driver to go through. This leaves Jared Davis as your leader. 25 laps to go through the Brandt back straightaway. Davis now has to hold on for just over 20 laps. Just over 35 miles. Seeing what happens now as Brooks, Nieto, and Hensley are the holdouts, and they're quick to be passed. Ethan Lane now getting up there to Tyler Hensley. He'll quickly get by him. 24 laps to go. Lane to fourth has 13 seconds to go. Jared Davis still has a lot of time until Ethan Lane gets up there. 11.7 seconds back. Lane has done this before. Rockingham, he's done an amazing job. I mean, he did it in 2023. He burst onto the scene, and he attempted to go for it again the year after, but he's a driver, Lane, who can pull a full lap back under green. 12 seconds is not the biggest of deals for someone who knows how to pull nearly 30. 22 laps to go this time by, and we'd like to thank our camera partners and associates at Whiplash SimCams, the best in the business. If you're an upcoming broadcaster, you can start with their equipment for absolutely free by visiting their Discord server and entering for trial cameras. Amazingly enough, if you like what you see and you want to buy more, licensing fee or strings attached. Once you buy it, it is yours. So, visit Whiplash SimCams on their social media platforms to learn more. Jared Davis, the holdout, leads the fun times in Chicagoland. We're about to crank it up loud and proud from Joliet, Illinois. Jared Davis leads by some 7 seconds with 16 laps remaining. So the question becomes, is that enough time to hang on? 15 laps to go. 7 seconds, and it's Ethan Lane. The thing about Lane here, 32.576 second lap, compared to Jared Davis, he's 0.3 of a second quicker. Doing the fast math, he's gaining about a second every 3 laps. At the pace that he's going, I don't think Lane's going to have enough, mathematically speaking. He would have to pull about a half second a lap, which he's not doing right now, to get up to Jared Davis. Davis is not fast by any means, but he has been running the exact same lap time, now 40 consecutive laps. That's the benefit of this clutch and coast method. While Davis was deathly slow for the first 25, now everyone's playing at his speed. Everyone's going at his pace, and he can consistently give that same lap again and again and again. He does it because he's already been so used to it, the tires aren't worn, pushes a little bit harder, he doesn't get as much pushback. He doesn't need to push that hard, he gets what he needs regardless. Ethan Lane, 7.4 seconds behind. He's a little quicker. He definitely is faster, but he has not yet been able to pull a half second in a lap, and that is where he needs to be. So here you have it. That's the battle for the race lead. Blake Cannon is in third. Gael Brooks is no longer in the podium, and that's 4th place for him. So Brooks finding himself inside the top 5. Sam Nieto is as well, and this is a saving grace race for Nieto. If he finishes the job and takes up that top 5, he is 10th right now, the championship standings, the final driver, title eligible, and it looks like now he just might be able to pull off a miracle for his case. Sam Nieto right now up 7 places. That's where he wants to be. He's ahead of where he started. He's ahead of a lot of good competitors. He currently runs ahead of Thomas Bressi. He finds himself not ahead of Jared Davis, but he is ahead of Matt Alenis, Jack Drucker, Matthew Thunhorst, DJ Stagner. These are guys who are above and below the cut line. Nieto is ahead of everyone in that regard. That is huge. So for Sam, if he takes this, rides into the next week of racing, that is everything he could ask for. Jared Davis comes across the line here, and it will be only 10 laps remaining for him. 5.7 seconds, the difference between Davis and Lane. Top 2 for those guys, and that's exactly where they started. 18th up to 3rd. Blake Cannon has gained 15 places. Talk about a great night for him. Again, even if he doesn't end up winning this one, lead laps, getting onto the podium, Cannon isn't a sure thing for the final 5. I will say that. And I don't say that as a disrespectful remark for what his season has been. A great one with 5 wins so far, but I'm not going to say he's a sure thing just yet. He is going to earn his way in. And I think that's a little bit more impressive if you consider the following. He has been at it all season long, and he's really come alive as of late. He wasn't the dominant driver the first half of the season. Ethan Lane, by the numbers, no doubt was. But as of late, Lane has been taking poles with the same frequency as Cannon has been taking wins. And so the bigger picture is Cannon's got it made now, and Ethan Lane has enough of a buffer to also drive there too. So those are 2 bona fide championship contenders. Jared Davis is now 8 laps away from locking into the final 5 and taking a slot through. Any driver can win and make their way in. Even if Davis was to completely bomb the next 2 races, and he's coming from under the cut line, this is everything. Seven to go this time by. Jared is still 5.3 seconds up. Ethan Lane has continued to gain on a slow but sure basis. But I don't think that anything else has come of it. He has continued to move up, Well, he's gone from 12 seconds back, a major gap, mind you. It looks like the two-stop strategy, for as many drivers who have run it, it will not be the winning call tonight. Davis, he strategized, he put it all together, and he went for what was the ideal 60-60 split. It's not ideal to perform it, and that's why it's easier on paper. The fuel cells can go 90 miles. The difference, can you make it go 90 miles? And it looks like only one driver has been able to do it with that particular effect, and that is Davis. Kyle Brooks is now going to start running into some trouble here because he's got guys with newer rubber all over him. Hunter Madalenis being the first of which. Hunter is going to drop to the inside and rapidly, here comes Hunter Madalenis surging by. That's going to be for fourth. I don't think that this 71 team is going to maintain the top five. He is right now chased down by Sam Nieto. And I think for Brooks, it's going to be a great top 10, but Nieto is hungry. This is now about championship placements, the point standings that matter the most, and this is everything. The number 2 of Sam Nieto needs to keep on moving, 12th up to 6th. 17th to 5th for Kyle Brooks is up a dozen, yes, but it looks like he's going to drop a little bit further back before it's all said and done with the pace that Nieto is running. Last time by, 32.782 compared to a 33.082 for Brooks. That's 0.3 off, and it looks like it's just enough for Nieto to have a shot. Jared Davis 4 seconds ahead now on Ethan Lane as he tries to get by the lapper of Will Reichert. Three wide. Past the Geico restart zone marker, and it's wonderful that for Davis anyway, he only had to see that in use once. Your pole sitter tonight, and he's had the ambition of winning this one since, of course, that very moment. It's interesting to consider here that the all-black number 19 already had a solid season, undeniably. But at the very same time, it hasn't been something that an out-route champion would see. He's only got one win on the calendar so far, Davis, and I think that's a surprise given his reputation outside of this league. He's got a real high I rating, and of course that's going to be coming in at over 5,500. Not to mention, of course, at this point, Davis has been very strong in the Octane series. The Monday nights have not been his preference so far, but momentum counts, and even if a driver falters or isn't at their best for the first 20 plus weeks, this is where it comes together. Round 2, too serious to beat, 2 laps to go. Jared Davis has 2.5 seconds. Can he do it for the second time? Final lap now from Joliet, Illinois. Jared Davis just has to pull it for 4 more corners. Ethan Lane is firmly in second. Cannon is firmly in third. Brooks is still fighting to maintain the top 5. He's got Sam Nieto behind him once again, and they'll continue to jockey until the checkered. All the while, Jared Davis on the one-stop strategy. He's the one-man army. No one else did it like him. He takes the biggest risk. He reaps the biggest reward. Jared Davis opens up the round of 10 with a critical race win. It's as clutch as it gets. Davis is into the championship 5. Brooks at the line barely beats Nieto. JTM, led by Gael Brooks, sees 2 top 10s. What a race from the 71. Ethan Lane, Blake Cannon, that's your podium. Silence, jet black, and a winner, Jared Davis. Wow. Time to kick off the dust one final time with the oldest tires in the entire field. Davis burns it down. Oh, well, that was pretty quick. And he just left us with the message, out. As a mystery as he is, He makes it very clear on the racetrack he is the man. Unfortunately, Jared Davis is again not available for comment. We have been trying all season long to reach him. He eludes us. We'll try again. And we'll be back with your race result after a brief message from iRacing.com. Stay tuned for post-race coverage of the Integrity Ignite series. We will be back after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Jared Davis, the winner tonight on the Avant-Garde one-stop strategy. Davis by 46 laps. Well, he led them all anyway. That's what he gets out of a long-term strategy that reaps the benefits at the end and wins to lock in the final round. Ethan Lane, your leader in points coming into the night, finishes second, and Blake Cannon goes third. Hunter Madalenas P4, and Gael Brooks, what a race for him, fifth place. Sam Nieto goes P6, Tyler Hensley 7th, and Jack Drucker in 8th, with Vinny Tigner and Matthew Thunhorst concluding the top 10. 11th place goes DJ Stagner and Brant McClendon 12th, Cody Smith 13th, and Blake Gordon 14th, with Thomas Bressi 15th on the day, two of his teammates taking top 10 finishes. Jacob Fife 16th place, qualifying 9th to Thomas Bressi 6th, 24th up to 17th, some great moves for Ryan Potter in 24th, and a highlight to Brant McClendon up 13 places to go from 12th to 25th. Justin Morton, 18th, 19th, Josh Gallagher and Casey Shue rounds out the top 20, with Will Reichert, Sebastian Miller, Nick Tarbuck, Kyle Cooper, and Brandon Bernhardt locking up the top 25. Tom Wetmore, Michael Araya, Steve Durham, Andrew Schaub, and Nicholas Ward for the top 30. 31st is Cal Filarski, 32nd is Ronnie Osmer, 33rd is Matt Sisler, and Boomer Logan is your 34th and final driver on the field tonight. Again, and we said it before, Jared Davis is a no-show in the broadcast booth. He didn't even burn it down for more than a few seconds, and with that said, we can't add much more comment on what we saw tonight. Simply put, he outdid everyone on strategy. He did the one thing nobody else could do. He clutched, he coasted, and he made his way on a fundamental one-stop strategy. A great race for him. His best of the season, and I would say the best of his Integrity Racing League career. But we can't leave it to him to give that final commentary. With that said, an amazing performance. Congratulations, Jared. And if you want to stop in the broadcast booth, we would love to hear from you. It's been since February. Now, here's a driver we hear from quite a lot. Ethan Lane led all those on the two-stopper, and I would love to hear from him on what led to that call, because he still made a lot of this race a success, but was 3 seconds off win number 7. Ethan Lane is with us in the broadcast booth now, second on the day, and the hard charge ends just before, of course, we come to the line. How was it out there, Ethan?
Yeah, a little disappointed, but we'll take P2 after the first round of these playoffs. Went no, I think my problem was I didn't fuel it all the way that last run. We had auto fuel turned on, and that kind of made the car plow really bad for me. Unfortunately, those last 35 laps. So yeah, no, we'll take it. Congrats to Jared. That was a heck of a strategy call. I was really shocked that he made that work. So good for him. Good for him moving on to the round of 5.
Now, of course, for you, you did something different from Davis. The majority of the field did, making the call to go down to pit road a little bit early. So, can you let us know what led to that point? It looks like most people agreed with that being the right call. So, what led to that decision, which was, of course, the full race strategy?
Uh, well, we kind of, I think most of us, I think Blake will probably attest to it. We didn't play it like we should have. We probably should have played at 40-40 and then the last 40 to make maximum time of the tires and everything. But yeah, no, we thought it was a winning strategy and it almost was. So we'll go on to I think Daytona next week and hopefully not wreck and just gain a couple points.
And it's now all off to our final big wild card. You mentioned it. Daytona International Speedway. You've got a points buffer. Very few drivers have been able to match. Are there any particular goals at the World Center of Racing?
Stage points and not wreck. If we can do that, come away with the top 10, I'll be completely happy. Um, that way we go into I believe it's Martinsville with a decent gap to P5. Um, so yeah, we'll see. Never know how it's gonna go. We could be involved in a wreck and then have to have a really strong night at Martinsville. So we look forward to it. Just I'm wanting to get that final round. Three really good tracks for me though.
Now, getting to the very end. That's the end goal. Starting strong with a great points night here. Ethan Lane, second on the day. Any final comments you'd like to leave us with?
Just thanks to you putting on these races or putting on these broadcasts and then everyone at Integrity. And again, congrats to Jared. That was one heck of a call. Was really shocked that it worked.
Ethan Lane, second on the day, and he finishes off the long haul. Only one caution with a podium finish. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lane in second, Blake Cannon. What a race for him. 15 places to go from 18th to 3rd, and perhaps most impressive, he made a lot of those gains under green and did so rapid fast. Blake, welcome back to the broadcast booth. Not a win tonight, but you went from a mediocre qualifying run to a very clear, strong performance to take it back to the top 3. What was it like out there?
Man, I just hate that I put myself behind so early in qualifying. I just didn't put together 2 good laps. So, when you come to a mile and a half like this and there's not going to be a whole lot of cautions, you kind of got to burn your stuff up and go. And, I had it in my mind I was going to make it a 2-stop race the entire time. And, unfortunately, it just wasn't the correct call. But hell of a job to Jared. I mean, he took us to school and then, he deserved to win tonight.
And it looks like the entire field making that big call on the two-stopper. So I'd have to ask, because it looks like two factors significantly made that the case. We saw that it was close on the fuel number, but also tire wear was significant. So what was it like for you dealing with that aspect at the same time?
I think when you come to these racetracks that are multi-groove, for some reason the tire wear is a lot, but at a certain point the fall off stops. Like once you get about a second and a half slower pace, it kind of levels out. So he did had the same tire wear, and his tires were just as worn as mine were. But once you get the goodie of the tires and you start running the same lap times, at that point it's about track position. And I think we saw that in the first run when I got out front and I was just pacing myself and. I'm kicking myself for waiting another lap to pit on the first stint, but I don't think it would have mattered at the end of the day. I just, I put myself in a box and had to roll with it after that.
And so now, even though it wasn't a win, you've got yourself a little bit of an upper hand when it comes to the points running. Daytona could wipe it out or it could double. It's really a lottery for you and the rest of the field coming up next. Halfway through the round of 10, you started this playoff run strong. You thinking locking in is reasonable to say next week?
Do you have the points in front of you by chance or no?
Well, we're looking at the ones from before, so coming into this race anyway, we can take a better look at that. The 2017, let's see exactly where you were seated here. Coming in, you had yourself a 6-point cut line advantage, so you were seated third. And based on what we saw tonight, it's very likely you're still going to be seated third, second in points behind Lane.
Yeah, I just hate it that Jared is able, he's going to move that cut line back. I hate that I didn't get any stage points. I think that's going to be a big factor. tonight at the end when all the points shake out. I didn't get no stage points, so I hate that we didn't execute like we should have. But at the end of the day, we had a really good race compared to a lot of others. So just gotta go to Daytona, be smart, finish, have good runs, and then put myself in a good position in Martinsville. I mean, I feel like if I don't make it to the Final Four this year is unsuccessful. So, I hate to be that way, but I put a lot into this season, and feel like we've had such a strong car at a lot of different tracks that if I don't make it to that Final Four, it's just going to be devastating. So, we're going to do our best at Daytona. It's always a crapshoot, whether to ride or to go. And then you got Martinsville, where there's going to be a lot of people and a must win. So hopefully we're not one of them, but we'll just take what we can get next week.
Blake Cannon, podium running from Chicagoland, our final trip down to this circuit, and now we're heading back to the big one where it all began this season. If you have anything else you'd like to add, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just hell of a race by all the Integrity Racing League guys. I know Mondays have struggled a little bit, but the guys keep coming out, and I think it showcased tonight how good they can be with only one caution. So hats off to each and every one of them. Thanks to all the admin crew. I know Boomer puts up with a lot, and Jacob. Thank you for the broadcast. Thanks everybody at Roadhouse. I know Tom had a little bit of a struggling night, but thanks to all them guys for continued support. And I got to thank my wife. And hopefully we'll be back in the same position next week.
Blake Cannon, P3, leading the Roadhouse Racing Brigade to another strong run, this time on Monday nights. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With Cannon on the way, Blake wraps up our podium, and we are left eluded as to where exactly our winner is. So, with that said, Blake Cannon finishes in third, Ethan Lane is in second, Jared Davis finds himself the winning man, and he does it again in silence. One thing is for certain, the entire field, they've known his name, and he rings the bell all over again. Davis is your race winner. He'll take the checkered flag and move on to the World Center of Racing for our second and final trip on the calendar this year. That's right, returning to the Daytona International Speedway as we go green again from Daytona Beach. That's next Monday night, and tomorrow with the Octane Series, we're heading off to the Charlotte Roval. Road course racing is going to be actually next Tuesday. New Hampshire, the Magic Mile is up next on the menu, and if you've enjoyed tonight's racing action, well, it's going to look a lot different, lock in maybe some of the same guys, and it's going to be an exciting race to remember as the Octane Series begins their second round of the championship fight as well. Until then, I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, show your support, means a lot for this team at FTN Broadcasting. This year, we eclipsed 3,000 subscribers. We're looking to keep moving the needle. Until then, thank you for your continued support. We'll see you tomorrow night with the Octane Series, and congratulations to Jared Davis on his second win of the season here from Chicagoland. Be back tomorrow night and next week as well from Daytona. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a fantastic night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Welcome to the Underdog Racing Podcast, where we talk to NASCAR drivers from all over the great country of America. Each week, we chat about the latest races, share stories from the track, and get to know the drivers behind the wheel. We break down the action, hear from drivers about their experiences, and dive into what drives them to keep racing. Whether you're a longtime NASCAR fan or just curious about the sport, this is the place for you. So tune in to the Underdog Racing Podcast, your inside look at the world of NASCAR. Catch us every Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.